So the first thing you'll need to do if you haven't already is install PHP. Chances are you already have PHP set up. The version that I use you can download at this URL here, and it will install it by default in Program Files /PHP. I'm not going to do this step here because we've done it in previous videos. The next thing we need to do is install Pear. Now chances are you've heard of Pear, but maybe you've never used it directly. But the idea of Pear is very similar to that of Composer. It's a package manager for reusable PHP components. The difference with Pear, though, is that it installs the packages system-wide on your computer. It's not necessarily something that's very portable within the different applications that you're building, and you can't have multiple versions. So it's not an ideal solution for everything, but for something like PHPUnit, which is actually part of your system rather than part of your application, it makes sense to install it this way. So the first thing we need to do to install Pear is to go to pear.php.net, go pear.far, and this will download the Pear package. I'm going to jump over to Windows here and open up a browser. I'll paste in the URL and hit enter, and this is starting the download here. Okay, now we've got it downloaded. Let's take a look at it in the File Explorer. So I've already gone through this process once before, so I have GoPear already, but then it renamed the second download GoPear1. I'm going to jump back to the instructions. Our second step is to move the file into our PHP directory. Again, mine is located in C Program Files PHP. Yours may be in a different location. Just make sure that this is the PHP that you can use via the command line. So I'm going to go back to Windows. I'm going to copy my GoPear, and then I'm going to navigate to my computer, my local hard drive, Program Files, and then PHP. And I'm going to paste it in right here, gopear.far. Let's go back to the instructions. Next, we're going to open up the command line and navigate to the installer, which is gopear.far. Again, mine's going to be cd and then C Program Files PHP. I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to open up a command line prompt and paste it in. So cd C Program Files PHP, and I'll hit enter. Now let's go back to our instructions. Next, we're going to type php gopear.far. I'll copy this. Jump back to the command line prompt. I'll paste this in and hit enter. When it asks if you're going to do a system-wide or local version, go ahead and choose local for now. Type yes to confirm. We'll go ahead and leave everything at the default, so I'm going to hit enter. So now, if we type Pear, we get our Pear options. Now I'm sure that there's a way around this next step, but I had to move my pear.ini file into my Windows directory manually in order for the next steps to take hold. So if we look at the instructions, what we're going to do is take pear.ini, which is inside of this PHP folder now, and we're going to move it to C Windows. So if we jump back to Windows and we go back to the File Explorer, inside of our Program Files PHP folder, we have pear.ini. I'm going to copy this and go back to my disk, go to Windows, and paste it in. Again, I already have a copy of this, so I'm going to replace it. And then let's go back to the instructions. We then need to run these commands on the command line in order to make sure that Pear is up to date and that we've added PHPUnit to our channels. You don't need to worry about the nuances of this. Let's just go ahead and run all of these. So I'm going to copy this first line, jump back to the command line, paste it in, and hit enter. I'm going to go back to the instructions and just go through each of these, and we'll do this in fast forward. And then finally, we're going to install PHPUnit. Now, we've gotten some errors here, but that's just because I've gone through this process already. If we go back to the instructions, we should be able to run PHPUnit-v in order to get some information about PHPUnit. So I'll paste this in, hit enter, and we see the options here. Okay, so at this point, we should have PHPUnit installed and be good to go for our next steps.